I usually tend to be super positive and enthusiastic about fantasy books. However, in today's video, I want to talk about a few things that have been frustrating me in the fantasy book world recently. So hello my fellow fantasy book lovers and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi and welcome. My name is Kathy and I'm a goth girl from Belgium who loves to read fantasy books. In today's video, I want to talk about my biggest issues or pet peeves within the fantasy book community. These are in no particular order at all, but these have been annoying the hell out of me whenever talking about books and specifically when getting book recommendations. So these are all stereotypes within the fantasy book industry that I personally am very tired of. And the first one is comparing every trial to Hunger Games. Not everything is the Hunger Games. Hunger Games for me is dystopian world needing to survive. Not a court to win the hand of someone. Not a trial to become the best dragon rider. If there isn't really like a dystopian setting, then stop comparing it to the Hunger Games. It wasn't even that good. Like, I saw the series or the movies of the Hunger Games. I never even read the book. But the comparison to the Hunger Games is made so often that I'm just tired of the comparison. Do something else, make it more original, keep it away from the Hunger Games trials, and then it will become better for me. Another one that really gets on my nerves is when it's marketed as enemies to lovers, and they're not even actual enemies. If it's enemies to lovers, you have to like be at the two very opposite ends of something. Like, one part in a war, the other part in a war. There has to be some sort of assassination attempt or some sort of way that they actually want to kill each other, hate each other, that there are these very strong, like, opposing feelings. Not just, oh, I don't like my classmate who I still have lunch with every day. Like, no, I want true enemies. And not just, oh, we didn't really like each other at first, but now we love each other. That's not the same thing at all. It's like, there's a book I recently read, Fireborn by Rosaria Munda, and some people have been promoting the two main characters as enemies to lovers. They were raised together, they were practically in a relationship together. In the book, okay, some struggles come up and towards the end they resolve those struggles. They were never enemies. Stop saying something is enemies to lovers when it's clearly not. And I know why they do it. They do it to sell books because this is a very popular trope in books, but I hate it when it's promoted or marketed as something and that isn't actually that. Another stereotype that I am tired of is promoting something as a coming-of-age story. We know a character grows. We know that when it starts as a child, we know it will grow up in the series. But marketing your book specifically as a coming-of-age story is marketing a fantasy book as a book with possibly magic or dragons. For me, this is so vague and so non-descriptive of a book that I feel it's better to just leave it out. Another thing that I am very tired of is retellings of stories. I don't need another Beauty and the Beast. I am sick and tired of Hades and Persephone. I don't want your Greek god half-assed retelling combined with something else. Make up your own stories. I know you can be influenced a little bit by those books, but making completely retellings of specific books is so unnecessary in my opinion. And I'm not gonna lie about this. I had a book in my hands and I was reading the synopsis and it was like Beauty and the Beast meets Hades x Persephone. I immediately put the book back on the shelf. I really don't care about it at all. So please stop writing so many of it. Another thing that's really getting on my nerves is in the fantasy romance industry where every single book is being compared to ACOTAR. I didn't like ACOTAR. I read the two first books and I'm sick and tired of ACOTAR. I read 4 books in the Throne of Glass series and it feels like I just read the same book over and over again. Please don't compare anything to Sarah Yemaaz and ACOTAR because for me that's just saying that your book is not as good. Because I feel like I didn't even like the source material that you're referring to, so why would I enjoy the book that you're trying to promote? Like, everything seems to be like ACOTAR in the fantasy romance realm, and I'm not into it. I know a lot of people have found their way back to fantasy thanks to ACOTAR, But I didn't, and I didn't even enjoy it. And the same thing I see is happening now to books that have dragons in it are immediately being compared to Fourth Wing. The same thing for the Fireborn books by Rosaria Munda. They were out before Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, and now are being recommended. If you like Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, then you will like this book series as well. Yeah, but this existed before, so I get it that it's being compared to each other, but it's like, it's totally different books. And there is not nearly as much smut in the Fireborn series as there was in Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, so it's an unfair comparison, because people who want fantasy romance, which Fourth Wing and Iron Flame clearly are, because they're written by a romance author who now is writing fantasy romance, and then you have Rosaria Munda, who is writing this epic trilogy with dragons. Like, it is not the same type of book. Another thing that I am sick and tired of is everyone being beautiful. I know for these videos I put on makeup, I try to look good, but in books, having every single character being perfect skin, purple hair that mysteriously stays purple. Don't people wash their hair? Like, I don't get it. Why is everyone young and beautiful in these books, and the young specifically? I feel like the majority of the books that I've read so far, all of the main characters were very young, and I feel like the early 20s is the age for which most books are being written, and I don't get it, because I personally am 32 at the moment of recording this video. I would love to have a book with more representation of the way that I am. And I am not alone in this. I am sick and tired of reading books with these petite girls, preferably blonde or long-haired, blue eyes. Like, we all know the stereotype, and it just seems to keep coming back in every single book. I have the Fireborn book right next to me, and Annie, the girl, is tiny, is petite. She is skinny. She has this long flowy hair at the beginning of the book, and then it gets chopped off at some point. But like, the stereotype is so widely present in nearly every single book that I read that I just let people be ugly, let people have scars, let people be imperfect. We don't need the perfect straight noses and the blue eyes and, oh, he's so gorgeous, swooning, perfect bodies, V-shaped abs. Like, no, thank you. So now that I got some of my frustrations out of my system, I would love to know from you, what are your biggest frustrations within the current fantasy book industry? Things that are either in the marketing of books or even in the books themselves that you feel we need to talk about, because if we're not addressing them, no one is going to change them. And that is something that is so very unfortunate, because I love fantasy books, and if there are better ways to promote books or better ways to go about writing books or having character representation in books, I would love that so much more. I would love to have a book that has a character that is tall, not super skinny. Like, I would love more Brienne from Game of Thrones in books than I want the Akotar girls in books. And that is something that I just wish there was more of. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. And of course, if you haven't already and you'd like to be, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I make new videos every week and I would love to have you for every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye!